Jen here, and I have something completely different for you guys today for Stretch the Sketch. I am actually going to create the cover of my December Daily album for this year. So the sketch that we're using today is a sketch that was designed by Kasia Krasminska for Prima, and you can see it's just this really fun sketch. There is a spot kind of where a photo is, but because they've put a label in there and put Prima in there, it almost looks like there isn't a picture. And so when I was kind of looking at it and trying to decide what it was I wanted to do, I thought I do actually need to get on to this December daily thing and get myself organized and prepared. And I think that this general design works really good for the cover page as well. So that's what I'm doing. That's where I kind of put this all together. My album this year, as you can see, is a little sort of 4x6 album. This is from Recollections, and I just picked it up from Dollar Tree a few months ago. In the summer, they just suddenly had this whole kind of end cap of Recollections from Michaels, and it's several years old. I think 2011, 2012, somewhere in there. And my Dollar Tree had a whole huge end cap filled with all these Recollections products, all from around that time. And oddly enough, I actually had some of them already because that was the time when I was teaching at Michael's. So I was always picking up these little things kind of way back in the heyday of scrapbooking at Michael's. And so I have a bunch of them, and I thought this would just be a fun size to try for my December daily, but it's not really my style. It's one of those kits, so it comes with all the papers you can see there. I haven't taken them out yet, but it comes with all the papers, and it had two little pockets on the inside, and essentially it was like a ready to go album that you could just start sticking pictures into and journaling and doing whatever you wanted to do with it. So I will be covering up some of the papers and taking some of them out completely, but for me, this is a brand new size, and so I just wanted to go ahead and kind of recreate the cover of it and make it a little bit more Christmassy and festive. And I have this piece of fabric that I got at Dollar Tree as well. So obviously Dollar Tree for the win on this particular project, but I thought that this would just make a really kind of fun, whimsical cover. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. That's what you see me doing here. I basically just picked the section of the fabric that I kind of wanted on the front and cut it to the right size so that I could wrap it right around the back. And then I'm using Mod Podge to go ahead and glue it all down and make sure that it's sealed really nicely along any little seams, anywhere where it could kind of pull up, or if there were air bubbles or anything like that, I could just push them all out and get it all closed up really well. And honestly, this takes just seconds. Like, the Mod Podge will stay tacky for a little bit, but it dries a lot faster than you would think. So I wasn't having to kind of stop and start and stop and start. I did this all in one sitting, which was really nice. So there I was just looking back at that sketch and making sure that I didn't kind of let myself run away with ideas, and I was going back to the sketch to kind of at least find the essence of it. And I really like that circular element that they have on both sides, but for me, I'm just going to put it on the one side here. And I instantly was thinking of a doily. Again, that's just sort of that Christmassy feel. So I pulled out a silver doily, and I have a gold doily that I'm going to put on top of it. I love mixing my gold and my silvers, especially at Christmas, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I know it's not for everybody, but I think it looks really pretty, and it just brings a little bit more of that kind of festive feel. And the metallics, of course, they calm down the pattern in the fabric a little bit, I think, and kind of bring just a touch of tradition by having that doily feel. And so again, I'm using the Mod Podge. It works really well. It holds everything down. And because I'm sort of brushing it on instead of using an applicator and squeezing it out of a nozzle, I can really get into all of those little cutout shapes in the doily. So it's stuck down really, really well. I go right over top of it too, and it does look dull, of course, when you first put it on, but it dries clear. So all of that kind of beautiful metallic look comes right back as soon as it's dried. I also used a little bit of a metallic green washi tape just to put on the edge where the fabric kind of stopped. I like that the binding of this album had the wood grain, and I didn't want to cover that all up, so I just needed something to give myself a little bit of a cleaner edge there. And now that I'm looking at this from this height instead of actually working on it, it kind of looks like I just stuck a giant toonie onto my Christmas album. But in real life, you can see all the details of the doily, and it's quite pretty. So again, the gold doily is going to sit on top of the silver, and I'm just using that Mod Podge. I do come back in with a little bit of the quick dry adhesive that I have in my fine line applicator, and just kind of touch down on that very edge where the doilies are cut off, because that's where the crease of the binding is. And so I'm going to be moving it back and forth, and that Scotch quick dry adhesive, or I guess it's called tacky adhesive now, is quite strong. So the Mod Podge and the combination of that, I think, will hold that down so it doesn't end up getting ripped or peeling off or anything. And then another element that I really liked about the sketch was just all the really fun layers, especially on the right-hand side where the title is. There is a tag there and a couple other elements, other layers. And so I wanted to bring that in where I'm putting my title. I'm just going to put a very simple Christmas 2021. I sort of picked a section of the fabric that already has that merry and bright, and it says ho ho ho. So I didn't think I needed to add a ton of other words into my title. So I wanted to find a way to at least have a few little layers that were a different texture from the fabric. So I went into my washi tape, and this is again where Mod Podge works really well, because I was able to put the washi tape right onto the fabric and seal it all down so it shouldn't pop up. It's stuck down really, really well, even where I've torn it, because I didn't wrap that all the way around to the inside. So it's going to work really nicely and hold really secure. So I went ahead and picked 4 of them, a gold one to kind of balance the gold doily, and then a little thin silver one, of course, for the silver doily, and then a red and a green. And so my title is now just going to be this little wood veneer that I have. I think these also, I was going to say I think they're from Michael's, but I actually think that they were probably from Dollarama or Dollar Tree, but several years ago. So I picked out the Christmas from one of the packages, and then I just used those gold thickers to put 2021. And then of course there's lots of things going on the left hand side of the layout, so I wanted to make sure that I had a few different embellishments also on the left hand side of my cover. So I have this giant wood veneer. It's thicker than your normal wood veneer. It definitely would work really well if you were making ornaments and things like that. It's like a nice sturdy piece of wood, and it's from Dollarama. So I stuck that down there, and then a little flare from Wild Whisper. It's the little green Jeep with the Christmas tree on top. So just trying to look for different unique things that I could pop in there, different textures, different looks to everything, because that's definitely the vibe I get from the original sketch, is just all these really fun elements brought together. And of course there's mixed media in that sketch, and I couldn't really do that on my album cover, so I really wanted to get other kind of fun elements that are some of my favorite things to replace the mixed media. So while everything's drying on the front, which really doesn't take very long because I was using the Mod Podge and also the quick dry adhesive, I decided to go ahead and do a little sneaky extra here and add something into the back, or I guess the front inside cover. So I have that beautiful sticker that I've sort of been hoarding from a Close to My Heart Christmas collection. And I just think it's really pretty. And I knew that I wanted it to really stand out and be like a centerpiece on a layout or a project. And so I think that this actually is the perfect place to put it. It says A December to Remember, and it has that really beautiful green and then the gold foil. So it kind of matches the gold that's in the front cover or on the front cover. I don't know why I keep wanting to say on that front cover. So I just put a little bit of glue on that bottom left edge so that it would create a bit of a pocket feel. I can go ahead and tuck some little tags or tiny little photos or anything I want really. I just like to always have some sort of pocket in the front cover of my album. So that worked out really well. And then here I'm just finishing up by filling in this little gap with some more of the washi tape from the front of the cover. And then of course I gave that a really good seal with the Mod Podge. And that's it. That is my layout, or I guess I should say project, because I kind of did a project this week. That is my project for this month for Stretch the Sketch. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Please check out all the other links below. And until next time, happy scrapping. Bye.